This is Dan Max, the trading agent. This is a stock trading and recap channel that I wanted to share to the masses. In a probability game, there's no certainty. Here are my insights and predictions. This is Dan Max at EXP, aka the trading agent. It is close to game time for NC State versus UNC, but I wanted to do a quick back to basics on channels. A new subscriber had asked about it, and I have a video in the back to basics series on trend lines, but channels, trend lines, very similar. At least the audio should be better. When I recorded the first time, the audio was kind of crappy because I was using my computer audio versus a real microphone. But yeah, let's jump into it. So channels, what's the real purpose of channels? Why do they matter? Why do we draw them? Again, it's like in the first video, they're just mile markers for a trend or a continuation of a move. You use them to confirm such. And one of the things that we've talked about recently with the SPY is it has this nice channel. It's been holding up, and you've gotten below it and you got back above it, but there was also an upper level of the channel, and recently we hit the very top part of it. Let me clean this up. Yeah. And so here's a nice little channel. I mean, it might be a narrowing pattern, like it narrows slightly, but it was one of the things that we were talking about on Monday. I think Monday. Yeah. Man, I don't even know what day it is sometimes. And when we got up to the upper side of the channel, and this candle we talked about, that really wasn't that great. We're potentially forming an M pattern, and that was something that we talked about. And when you have moves like you've had in the market to the upper side of the range, you have to be very cognizant of what's going on. And I always tell people there's this fantasy land of world where everybody thinks there's V tops and V bottoms, and just markets are easy, and it's not really like that. Typically tops are choppy, sloppy patterns. They're head and shoulders, they're M patterns, they're chop outs, or they're extreme blow offs. And if you know all the pattern formations, the V is very rare. Someone might say this is a V here, but again, this is a rounded top. Well, here you have an M. Once you broke the bottom of the channel after failing at the top of the channel, it's real simple. It should continue lower. Now, again, the markets have a whole multitude of factors, so just keep it in mind that when it held it, it was good. Once it broke it, it could be a pullback. How deep, how long, 50-day, keep in mind that's all the kind of stuff that can happen. So I like to tell people, just keep it simple when it comes to channels. We had a channel on the dollar recently. If you watch previous videos, what did I say? As long as we're in this channel, it can bounce back and forth. Once we broke out of it, it was going higher. It went higher, and it went to the top of the went to a new resistance point. If you can zoom out, you'll see why I like this little blue zone here. It's support resistance from the past. Yeah, that's a channel. I mean, keep in mind when you think of stocks and what a real channel means, just keep in mind it's a formation moving in an up or a down motion with higher highs and higher lows for an up channel, and lower lows and lower highs for a down channel. And they're important because I always tell people, like, straight line moves don't typically happen unless they're super, unless the stock is super, super, I don't know what's the best word, like hyped, and there's a lot of emotion, and usually that is the blow off move, not the smooth channel. Because it's funny, I was thinking of Tesla, and it had a pretty smooth channel all the way up, and you can see it right there. And I apologize that it's I'm doing this on the fly, but I usually do because a lot of the stuff is on my other computers. You had a nice up channel, and you said you could see the low end of the channel and the high end, and then once we broke above it, it went flying. So that's one of the things you watch for in channels, because usually the end of a move is preceded by a channel or chop. Because what happens is you chop, you go up in a nice channel, and then the straight line move up, the straight line move down ends the move. That's all you got. And so if you can understand what channels mean, they're just
it's just the patterns, up and down, but in a up direction. Again, think about the market makers. Think about how ultimately people get way too excited at the highs of a channel going up, and then they get too bearish at the lows of the channel. And again, people just think straight line moves are normal. When I started trading, the VIX usually hung out in 16 to 19 range. The volatility was always a little stronger, and that's one of the things here. And here's a channel, if you want to call it. Here's, or a trend line for gold. I mean, there's trend lines, channels, they're all the same thing. I mean, you zoom out on gold, you can see there's an upper, channel, trend line, whatever you want to call it. So time frames matter. Everything kind of matters on what you're looking for. And so that's one of the things that we'll talk about. And again, I mean, as you can tell, like, this is a basic pattern of just channeling its way up. Upper side of the channel, lower side of the channel. SPY for many weeks. I mean, man, many months. We've been channeling just up, test the bottom, test the bottom, test the upside, 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 boom, break it. Back into it, upside, upside. Now, again, channels are not always perfect. And in a game of probabilities, you can't expect to rely on them to be perfect. That's always one of the things that I tell people. You have to keep it real simple. Just look at the probabilities. Think if it's in your favor. That's all you need to know. I mean, sometimes channels can be, just sideways rectangles. I've been telling people for almost, man, how long has it been? Wow, it's almost a whole, 7 months that this ARC ETF, which is, what's her name? Kathy Wood's favorite little ETF, has just been in a channel. I mean, bottom side, upside. Who knows where it's going to go? I technically don't like her personally because I think she's, retail driven, and unfortunately, retail is the target. Man, look at that. I mean, that's choppiness, but that's what's going on. I mean, that's channels for you. I don't like her personally because I think she's bringing in disruptor technology that she's talking about. But the problem is that like stocks have a shelf life. You can only be a disruptor for so long before someone copies you. It's like Peloton or any other stock in a space where they take over and they're a disruptor. She loves to talk about Zillow. It got crushed. Peloton got crushed. Zoom, it gets crushed. Once you become a disruptor, competition comes. Now, I like the idea of getting in before they get labeled disruptor, but once everybody knows about it, who's left to buy? That's usually why I think her pumps are usually followed by dumps, and sometimes. I hope this video helped with channels. I mean, you can draw them. Again, trying to find as many points to confirm them. They're not a hard science. Don't live and die by them. That's all I tell people. Keep it simple. Put the probabilities in your favor. There's ascending channels, downward channels, sideways channels. And if you can find the channel, then use it to your advantage. But once the channel breaks, that's where it's more important. So we had a downtrend in Apple. Once it broke, you went higher. You have in the red the descend, the upward trend line of higher lows. Again, I would not be bearish until Apple breaks this. Same thing with the SPY. We talked about this. Wait for the channel to break to be bearish. Well, guess what? It broke it. And could it just drop off the face of the earth? Yeah, it could, especially with all this COVID news. But until then, you went sideways shorting. We can get into that's a whole other topic, shorting this market, because it's been almost inshortable for years. But we'll talk. I hope this helps. If you're not clear on something, the best thing to do is ask. Come to the Discord room. I'm around. People are there to help. Sharing is caring. You learn by, when the teacher is ready or the student's ready, the teacher appears. There's all these things about if you want to grow, people will help you. But if you just want easy answers and you don't want to practice, you don't want to study, then this stuff stays pretty damn hard. Trading is not an easy game. I mean, if you study the statistics, 95% of day traders will blow up and fail. Do you want to be a statistic or do you want to learn? So Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the trading agent, always here to help if I can. And if things, just keep an eye on things. Channels. If you have questions, again, pop in, draw a channel. Ask me if you think that, hey, is this how you would draw a channel? Keep it real simple. People are here to help. I'll talk to you guys and gals. Cheers.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like the content. Also smash the like button. Share with your friends and add a comment. If there's a topic or stock you'd like me to give you insight about, let me know in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer your question. Thanks.